Alright, good day YouTube. Uncle Dave from DEECEE's Adventures, and today I want to talk to you about this 100 watt monocrystalline folding solar panel by RockPals. I've had this solar panel for a little over 2 years now, and the first year of that, this was the only source of power I had, along with this battery pack here by Chafron. At the time it really had no reviews on it. Now if you go and check it, the reviews are awesome, and they've sold a lot of them, and a lot of people have reviewed this thing, and all of them are great reviews. So when you go to Amazon, you'll see that. But like I said, it's a monocrystalline panel, and in my opinion it is very, very efficient. Like, I have other solar panels on the property, and this one's the most efficient. I mean, it runs the highest or closest to that 100 watts than any of the other ones I have. In a full sunny day during the summer, it'll charge this whole battery, which is like 75,000 milliamps. It'll charge that in like about 4 to 6 hours in the summer. And right now it's January, and on a day like this, when it's this sunny, I can get it to charge pretty much completely in a day with this panel. So let's get it all unfolded. You know, I think some of the efficiency is because it has 4 separate panels. You know, my other 100 watt panel I have is one big panel. It's like a regular panel you'd put on the house, you know, one that's made for the weather and everything. But this one definitely puts out more power. I can charge that battery pack like an hour or two quicker with this panel than I can the other panel, and they're both 100 watt. This panel here has it's these 4 panels that fold, but right here on the front there's this pouch, and when you open this pouch you get all these wires, which are kind of tangled right now. You get this connector thing, for a DC connector, and then you get this whole collection of these connectors. So with all this stuff, you can pretty much plug it into anything. And then it has direct current. You know, these are the male and female connectors that you'd find on like a regular home style solar panel. So you can hook this up, and I have a connector that came with my battery pack that is made to hook up this way. It's hooked up to the other panel right now, that the more permanent panel that I use now. But when you hook it up direct from the panel onto these things, it charges way faster than if you use the USB connecting spots. So inside this pocket, I mean, I'll have to probably bring you over here to look inside. You can kind of see it here. Inside this pocket, there's like this little brain. And this little brain has 3 USB ports on it. 2 of them are just regular USB 2s, and then there's one USB 3 on there. So it has a way for you to connect all of your devices straight to the panel. Like I said, this was my only power. This and that battery pack right there, and then a couple small Anchor battery packs that I used to charge off of this. And that was my only power out here for a whole year. So I know this panel definitely produces enough power. With this panel and that battery pack, I keep my cell phone charged and my Apple laptop, which I use every night. So this panel definitely did a good job. It is like a denier. It's like a denier cloth on the outside, and that brain that's in there, that brain's not supposed to get wet. So that's the only thing. Like, you know, I actually think I see guys leaving these out in the weather now, but I didn't think you were supposed to because that brain's not supposed to get wet on the back. With that said, I used it for that whole year, and one time I did leave it out in the rain on accident. It started downpouring when I had everything charging, and luckily I didn't get my battery wet. But I just dried the panel off, and it didn't ruin anything. But I don't think this panel's supposed to get wet. I mean, that's the only reason why I really moved to the other panel that I have. I have a Renogy panel, and I have that panel because I wanted to have something that, during the summer and stuff, I can just put on a mount out in the yard and leave it there, and the power will just always be coming in, charging the battery whenever it's sunny. With this particular panel, it's not really set up to be left out in the weather all the time, Even that fading is just from me bringing it out every day and then bringing it back in at night, I never leave it out in the weather for multiple days. But with that said, this is very high efficient panel, and for me, it's the most handy panel I have still. So now that I don't have to have it at camp all the time, I keep this one in the car with me, and anytime I'm camping or fishing or doing anything, I can take this out and put it on the hood of the car and charge everything. I mean, it charges everything. 100 watts is a lot of power, actually. People might not realize that, but you can charge a lot of things with 100 watts. With this panel and my battery pack, last year I built all kinds of stuff out on my property, and I charged all of my electric tools with this thing too. So for off-grid living, it's pretty awesome. But like I was saying, if you're looking for something that you're going to have out in the weather all the time, then you want to get a real hard-sided panel. But for convenience and travel and bringing it places, I really think this RockPal is probably the best one on the market. I mean, Goal Zero has a pretty nice one. I've seen a lot of people test a lot of different panels though, these folding panels like this. And this one just seems like it's the closest to that 100 watts that it's supposed to be producing. It's producing a lot of power, and it's like, it's 18 volts and 5.4 amps is what it's putting out of the DEECEE on this thing, and it's probably about the same straight 100 watts pretty much out of those two cables straight into the battery. So yeah, I would say I really like this thing and I would buy it again. But something that's also to be considered, this was $200 when I bought it. It was $199 when I bought it. Right now they're $214, but this is the beginning of 2021 in January, and things have been really crazy, and a pandemic just happened, so these are kind of priced a little higher than they usually would be because it's a high demand. But they came out with an upgraded model of the same thing. So this same company, RockPals, they came out with the same exact panel pretty much, but the brain in it and the electronics are wired a little differently. That way you can daisy chain. This one is not set up to be daisy chained with a bunch of other panels. When I bought this for travel and everything, so I wasn't thinking about that. But now I do have another panel in here, and I have the stuff to set it up in a daisy chain, but it is recommended you don't daisy chain, or I don't think it's called daisy chaining when you hook panels together, but it's essentially that's what it is. I don't know what the real word is, but you connect the panels together, so you can connect 300 watt panels, so you're producing 300 watts at a time, and you're pumping that to a battery. This one isn't set up for that, so I'm glad actually I was reading some stuff just today before I did the review about that, because I have this extra panel that's going to stay outside all the time, and I was thinking about hooking wires to it so I could daisy chain this one on every once in a while if I was trying to charge stuff a little faster. And also, this battery pack, it does DC, it does AC, it does everything I need in my cabin, this battery pack. But this battery pack actually has a an amount of solar you can hook up to it. This has a max of 120 watts. You can't hook any more than 120 watts up to this particular battery. And some batteries are different. It depends on the inverter and stuff that's in it. So for me, I can't even hook the two 200 watt panels together and put it into the only battery pack I have anyways. So I actually don't really need more than 100 watts really, because my equipment can't even handle that. But they have some really nice battery packs out there that do like 1500 watt continuous. This one only does 500 watts peak on this one, which is pretty high still. I can run like a power drill and stuff off of it. But some of them are really, really big and are, you know, do the 1500 watts peak, and those ones you can hook like 400 watts at a time to, you know. But I don't have anything that big, so this thing was pretty much perfect for what I needed it for. But yeah, you gotta just consider how much time you think it's gonna spend in the weather. If you're in a really rainy environment and you're charging during the day and your panel might get rained on, this might not be the greatest choice. But if you're taking your panel in and out every time you go to use it, you know, because like this can't sit out in the weather either. So when I put this out with the panel, it can't sit out in the weather. So I take both of them in when I'm done. But if you're in a place that rains unexpectedly and everything, then yeah, you probably need to get a setup that is able to take the weather a little bit better than this. But other than that, this is a really epically awesome solar panel, and it's the one I keep in the car now. And I've spent a whole year keeping my laptop and my cell phone charged, and that's using my cell phone and my laptop for entertainment every night. So I was pretty happy with it. The RockPal's 100 watt folding monocrystalline solar panel. Uncle Dave with DEECEE's Adventures. Make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe.